What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and today I'm going to take you through the most comprehensive WNBA player prop preview for this upcoming two-game slate.
Yeah, game day, showing up at practice, attack them, lace them up, get active, lights, camera, then action.
If it's your first time checking out the channel, I encourage you to subscribe because we are hot right now.
And that hawk too, and spit on that thing.
On yesterday's video, had 3 picks. One of those was a void. The other 2, straight cash. We had Carter over her points line, and we had Hamby under her. So we faded Hamby. Now, the great thing about these 2 plays, I use the exact same strategy. And if you're interested, you can check out that strategy in the video link below. I've got a WNBA strategy, which I've been using with a ton of success. Feel free to check it out. It's completely free. Let's go. We're kicking things off with the Atlanta Dream versus the Indiana Fever. The Dream 2.5 point underdogs in this one. Pretty close game. Let's talk about the Fever for a minute. They're looking to build on a 3-game winning streak. They're 2-6 straight up on the road this season, though. Key players, we've got CC, Caitlin Clark, Leah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Alyssa Smith. So we'll run through those props today. And for the Dream, they need a win. They've lost 5 out of their last 7 games. 3-4 at home this season. Ryan Howard, key player, but she's out today, so they're going to rely on Alicia Gray, Tina Charles, and Parker Tyus. So we'll see where we're at. Other players on the injury report, we've got Jordan Canada, Ryan Howard, and we've got Fag Benley and Dantas out for the Fever. Now, how do we see this game going? It's a 2.5-point spread. The Fever are favorite. You can say that they're in better form at the moment. Both have been ass, not going to lie, but Fever covered in 3 straight games. They beat the Dream a week ago by 7 points, and they were 2.5-point underdogs. They're playing much better now. Aaliyah Boston seeing a big spike in her usage rate, and things are looking nice. So I like the Fever to cover in this one. If you are interested in playing sides, that's what I'm thinking. Now let's jump into Outlier. Let's talk about some player props and see if we can find some value for you guys. So first game, Fever versus the Dream. We'll start with the Fever as they are on the road. That's how I like to kick it. So if you're talking about the Fever, you can't avoid Caitlin Clark. So let's talk about her. We'll kick things off right there. Caitlin Clark, let's go. All right. So first thing, what Outlier always does, it gives you the best hit rates, and they're coming up first. So if you're interested in checking out Outlier, I've got a 7-day free trial. If you check out the link below. Now Outlier's calling out Caitlin Clark's assist prop. So she's gone under 6.5 assists in 7 out of her last 10 games. So it's a 70% hit rate. Last game against the Atlanta Dream, she did finish on 6 assists. So, yeah, it doesn't seem too bad. But I don't know if I'm willing to play that, right? Should be getting close. The under 6.5 is at minus 125. If we look at the hit rate on the season, she's hit this in 10. The under's hit in 10 out of 16. So it does have a better hit rate. But this Atlanta team here, 7th in terms of assists allowed on the season. So it's not a bad play. The matchup, not easy, not difficult. I feel like the line's just about right. If I had to bet it, I definitely would lean the under given the hit rate, but I think we can find better plays than that. Let's take a look at her points line. 17.5 for Caitlin Clark. She's covered this in 5 out of her last 10. She's averaging 16 points per game. In her last matchup with Dream, she only scored 7 points in that. 35 minutes, she was only 3 from 11, 1 from 6 from deep. The Dream allowed the 4th fewest points in the league. So given the form, she covered this 50% of the games this season, 50% of her last 10. She has covered this in 2 straight, though. But if we check this out, right? This is a telling sign. If we look at her season so far, in 16 games, she hasn't covered this line in 3 consecutive games. So for me, I'll be leaning the under. 17.5 for Caitlin Clark. Purely on that reason alone. No, it's not that. The matchup, it is a difficult one. Plus, he sucked the last time they played them. So I'd probably lean in that Caitlin Clark under right now. So I'll add that to my short list. I'll investigate it a little bit more later. I'll run it through my little model. Well, it's not really a model. It's my strategy, which you can download for free. But I'll run it through that, see if we can get some correlation. And if we do, I'll be betting it. Next look is for Caitlin Clark's rebounds. 5.5 is the line. She's hit this in 50% of games this season, averaging 5.5. In her last 10, she's covered this in 4 out of her last 10. Now, her last 2 games have been great. 8 and 12 boards in those 2 games against the Sky and then against the Mystics. Up against a Dream team that doesn't rebound very well. They allow the 3rd most rebounds in the league. The last time she matched up against them, she finished with only 4 boards, though. So she did go under her points, rebounds, and assists the last time she played this team. Not to say that that's going to happen again. Rebounds, 5.5, minus 130 to the over. I don't like that. I probably lean to the over, but with not much confidence. So Caitlin Clark rebounds, I'm going to stay from it. One thing that's always an interesting look is her 3-point line. So 2.5 is the line, minus 145 to the over, which means the books are favoring the over. She's only gone over in 44% of games so far this season. So if you like talking about hit rates, better hit rate to the under here, and you're going to get this for plus money, plus 110. The challenge, though, the Dream, bottom 4 in terms of 3-pointers allowed. So the matchup, somewhat easy, you could say, for Caitlin Clark. And she does score a lot of her points from above the break in this Dream team. It's not too bad at defending it. If anything, they give up a lot of their threes in the corner. So I feel like the under still could be a good look here for Caitlin Clark. So I'll add that to my list of leans. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet it, but if I had to, at plus money, that's definitely the way that I'd be looking. Next up, let's talk about Aaliyah Boston. She's been a beast as of late. Let's talk about it. So her points line at 15.5. She's covered this in 4 out of her last 10. She has covered it in 3 consecutive games, though. She'll be beasting it as of late, averaging 14.7 in her last 10. If we look at head-to-head matchups against the Dream, earlier this season when they played them, well, when I say earlier this season, 7 days ago, she did score 27 points. She was an absolute beast. 12 from 21 from the field. Absolutely killing them. That was the first game where she really started to pick it up, started to break out from that point onwards. So looking at that form, yeah, I'd lean to the over for Boston for sure. I haven't found a reason not to. I know her season data doesn't look too great, but the volume is up. Field goal attempts are nice. Her percentages are nice and high as well. Getting to the free throw line as well, a lot more in the second part, last 8 games. So I do like that. The Dream, they don't allow too many points though, but your girls killed them before. Who's to say she can't do it again? So Aaliyah Boston, I've been leaning to the over for her points. So if you think about matchups and styles for Aaliyah Boston, she does score a whole lot of points under the basket. This Dream team, pretty good at defending in the post, but in saying that, bottom 3 when it comes to points allowed in the restricted area. So I'm not too sure how much I love it, but we'll see. Aaliyah Boston points. Right now, my lean is to the over. But let's see what else we can find. Taking a look at her rebounds, 8.5 boards for Aaliyah Boston. She's covered this in only 4 out of 16 games. So this line is high, and it's high because of that usage rate as of late. Consistently getting over 32 minutes per game. 12, 13, 14, and then 8 rebounds in her last 4 games. She'd be beasting it, as we know. This Dream team, not great at crashing the glass. Aaliyah Boston did have 13 rebounds the last time they played a week ago. So getting points off putbacks for sure. She has covered in 3 out of her last 5 against them. So at 8.5, it is high, minus 135. I do like the over though. So I'm thinking if we like the points, we like the rebounds. Could points and rebound be a good trade-off there? Because she had 40 points and rebounds the last time they played, 27 and 13. Checking that recent form where she's gone off, she's covered her points and rebound line in 4 consecutive games. So even the game where she went under this points line, she still managed to cover because of the great rebounding. So I think there's a chance either her points or her rebounds could explode. So I think the points plus the rebounds is probably the better look. If that's not available, you probably have to decide from her points or her rebounds, would you like a little bit more? So I'll leave that up to you. Let's take a look at her assists because she's been cashing out at times. 3.5 is her line, plus 210. So her line can't be at 3.5. It's probably at 2.5 to be honest. But yeah, somewhat inconsistent. I wouldn't be too keen playing her assist prop. She did have 2 assists the last time they played. So we'll have to pass on Aaliyah Boston there. But points and rebounds for Aaliyah Boston doesn't look like such a tough matchup. Let's take a look at Kelsey Mitchell. So Kelsey Mitchell's points line is at 16.5. Pretty decent scorer. Very consistent, believe it or not. She's covered this in 5 out of the last 10, 9 over 16 games this season. And you can see just looking at this graph how consistent at scoring she is. Now, looking at her last game against the Dream, she scored 24 points. So Caitlin Clark stunk, Kelsey Mitchell and Boston picking up the slack. She's actually covered this line in 3 consecutive games. And then looking at her season form, 3 consecutive games, not even the biggest stretch she's had earlier in the season. She had 4 consecutive games above this number. So consistent she is. I don't mind the over to this one. The matchup could be a difficult one, so I'll be going through RotoWire, looking at defense versus position before I make my final picks to see how well Kelsey Mitchell met with these girls. She is a pretty 3-level shoot above the break, a couple of middies, floaters, gets to the rim, good spot up shooter, runs a bit transition. So yeah, I don't mind her points prop, to be honest. I'd have to lean to the over in that one. She's consistent as hell. She's torched them before. Looking at head to head, she's torched them in 3 out of her last 5. But that 24 points earlier this season, fantastic. She did 7 from 14 shots, 3 3-pointers, 7 free throws. So getting to the line quite well. Just want to see how consistent she is at that. So she's averaging 3.3 attempts. She's making 2.1 3-pointers, taking 13.4. So that volume's pretty consistent. The production is nice. Yeah, I think she can cover this, sure. So I'll keep tabs on that. If you're interested in looking at a 3-point line, that's at 1.5. It's minus 225 to the over, though. She's cashing 10 out of 16. The matchup is good for 3-point shooting. If you get 1.5 on those flips, dabble, chalkboard, rebet, prize picks, underdog, whatever it may be, if you get her at 1.5, shit, I love the over on that. If you don't have any of those apps that I've mentioned, dabble, chalkboard, rebet, I do have affiliate links for those in the video description below. And if you do sign up using my code, you get deposit bonuses, deposit matches, all that type of stuff. Dabble at the moment, if you sign up with them using my code, they give you $10. You don't even have to deposit to take advantage of that. So feel free to check it out. Who else have we got from the team? Alyssa Smith, one of my favorite names to cover off. She got 2 capital letters in her first name. She got my attention. So her points line's at 11.5. She's covered this in 4 of her last 10, averaging 11.6 points per game this season. Only a 44% hit rate on this line, 11.1 as an average. Last time she faced the Dream, she scored 10 points. So she's gone under in her last 2 games against them. Minutes are a little bit scratchy. Let me take a look. So 28, 30, 2 games prior to that, one of them against the Dream, 19 and 17. So she scored 10 points in 17 minutes the last time they matched up. So you'd have to be really close to the player movements to see, what's going on. I think it was, what's her name? Fag Benley? I hope I'm saying that right. But she's been out for quite some time. Yeah, she's been out since the end of May. So she's been missing for quite some time. And Alyssa Smith picked up some more minutes within that time. But there has been a few games where she has gotten less. If you can get her for 28 to 30 minutes in this game, the over is an absolute jam, I think. But I'm not overly close to rotations. I can't predict how many minutes she's going to get. So I'd lean to the over if she's going to get 28 to 30 minutes. I just can't guarantee that. In terms of her rebounds, we know this team, the Dream, not great rebounding team, but Alyssa Smith has gone under this 7.5 in 4 straight games. She had 5 rebounds in 17 minutes the last time they played. So I guess these lines indicate she's probably going to get 28 to 30 minutes, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't think I could take a play on Alyssa Smith right now. So I'll have to pass on her. Let's jump into the Atlanta Dream. We'll start with Tina Charles. Let's go with Tina Charles. All right, checking out her line, 13.5. This has moved up. It normally sits at about 11.5 or 12.5, but given how it is out, some extra shots are going to go around. Now, she's covered this in 5 out of her last 10. Last time against the Fever in 15 minutes, she only scored 2 points. But if we look at her more recent form leading into this, has covered in 2 straight. She should get about 30 minutes based on these recent form and her projections. If we look at this season, muck around to say if she gets over 28 minutes, for let's say, she's covered this in 6 of 9, averaging 15.4. So the Indiana Fever, they do give up a lot of points. So that's one thing to keep in mind. They have improved slightly defensively as of late during this win streak, but still, defensively, not a great team. But I think it really comes down to minutes is one big thing. So I want to see over 28 minutes here for Tina Charles, but I'll also want to check to see her matchup. How does she match up against this team? She does kind of score from all over the place, scores in the paint, can shoot some ranges. Doesn't shoot too many 3-pointers, but she can get busy. A lot of offensive rebound, putting shit back, and as a spot-up shooter. So the question is, Howard, is she going to have spot-up shooting opportunities? That's my question. But Tina Charles, I think her matchup's probably not too bad, but I'll dive into that a little bit further, see what else I can find. Let's check out her rebound prop. 9.5 for Tina Charles. 6 out of 13 games this season. Last time she played the Fever, she finished on 6. But keeping in mind, she only played 16 minutes, right? So the Fever, they're in the bottom 4 in terms of rebounds allowed. If Tina Charles, no surprise to see her line at 9.5 if she's going to get 13 minutes. So I'd be hesitant to take the over for Tina in this game. But I wouldn't be overly to go. But like I said, she had 6 rebounds in 16 minutes. She should get double the time. That doesn't mean she's going to get 12 rebounds, but it means the potential is there. So I'd probably lean to the over, but it's quite a high line, and I'm not overly convinced. But her points line, I will be looking into that. We got Alicia Gray. So she's expected to get more Howard out of the lineup. Her points line is at 17.5 in this one. A little bit higher than where it normally sits, but it makes sense. Now, she's covered this line in only 3 of her last 10, averaging 14.2 points per game. She only had 7 points in that last game against Minnesota. She saw an uplift in her minutes, 38 minutes, but that was a dead-ass game, low scoring. Holy shit, she shot 1 from 16 in that last game, 6% from the field. The girl was putting up bricks, 0 from 8 from deep. My lord. Now, the good thing for Alicia Gray in this one, no Howard, so those extra shots are going to be there. She does score a lot of her points from above the break. The Fever, not a great team defending that. So if you think about Alicia Gray's scoring style, spot up shooting, getting to the free throw line, getting out in transition, some handoffs, off screen actions, it does really suit her. And if this was the NBA, I'd love this, right? You probably have the best player on the team who's coming off their worst game of the season where they've taken a high volume of shots. She averages 12 shots per game. And with no Howard in this game, she probably takes at least 15. So we should see a lot of shots out of Alicia Gray. She does have a good matchup. I don't mind this. This is going to make me look like a genius or a bloody asshole, and I'm willing to take that risk. So I think Alicia Gray, good chance of going over here, but I'll investigate it a bit further. 3-pointers, 1.5. I'd lean to the over on this just because of volume. This volume is sky high. Shoots 36% from the field, 0 from 8 in the last game. The Fever, bottom 3 when it comes to 3-pointers allowed. So I'd probably lean to the over, but at minus 220, not overly keen on that. And then we have a rebound prop at 4.5. 4 out of her last 10. Last game against the Fever, she had 5 rebounds. She should get 35 minutes in this game. I'd probably lean to the over, but I would think the points is probably the better prop. But Lions just giving me a little bit of a tip here to check her home games. And what's the stat? Oh, she's gone under 4.5 rebounds in 8 of her last 10 home games. So it's not a good one. So with those rebounds, I'm not overly keen. I think if you're gonna bet on Alicia Gray, the points definitely gives you a bit more confidence. But as you know, I'll be diving into that. Next up, so this dream team, they got a lot of players. They play them a whole lot of minutes. The key players don't necessarily log a whole lot of time. So let me check to see what other lines are available. Anything near coffee? Nothing. All right. So we got limited markets really for this Atlanta Dream team. So Tina Charles, Aerial Powers, nothing for Powers, nothing for Tyus, nothing for Haley Jones, and nothing for Near Coffee. So apologies, lads. That's all I can take you through for that particular game. So let's jump into the next one. Great game to watch this one. Really excited this one. The Sun versus the Aces. Now, 2 of the top teams colliding. It's offense versus defense. This Connecticut Sun, great defensively. This Aces, machines on offense. So the line, I think, is at 6 at the moment. It's starting to move even further out. It was at 5 or 5.5 at one point. Sometimes you can get it at 6. Somewhat disrespectful if you ask me. But let's talk about these teams. The Connecticut Sun first. They have a 13-1 record so far this season. These girls be on fire. They are 5-0 straight up on the road. So you get to lose a game on the road. We'll go through their key players. Bonner, Jones, Thomas, Carrington. We'll be going through all of them. And then for the Aces, I think they're 6-6 in their last 12 games. So 4-4 straight up at home. They haven't been playing all that well this season, but they just had the return of, Chelsea Gray? I think it's Chelsea Gray. And she, in limited time, she can get some done. So given Chelsea Gray's coming off the bench, possible minutes restriction, I don't think we'll have markets available for her, but a lot of those key players we can go through. Asia Wilson, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, even a bit of Tiffany Hayes, if that gets you interested. Not too many players on the injury report either. Line at 6. The Aces favorites by 6 points. How can you not take the Sun? I know the Aces are at home, but they have pretty bad at this. Not bad, but bad if you think about the expectations for this team. They haven't won back-to-back games since the end of May. We're on the 21st of June now, so 3 to 4 weeks where they're just going win-loss, win-loss. They've failed to cover of 10 of their last 14 games as favorite, 10 of the last 13 when they're favorites by 5 or more less, and 5 or more points, not less. What am I talking about? And 5 of those were straight losses as favorites. So there's a lot of value here for the Sun. And if Gray's not at 100% yet, I think that's a good opportunity to fade them. To be honest, Aces team hasn't been good unless this is a real casual take from me. But let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Aces or Sun? Who do you think takes it out and why? But go through the players from the Connecticut Sun first, being the road team. And then we'll see where we land. Let's start with Bonner. Point sign, 17.5 for this particular game. She's cashed this in 4 out of 10. She's gone under in 5 consecutive games. She has been close, but still under in 5. This A team, not great defensively, bottom 4 in terms of points allowed this season. Duana Bonner getting 31 minutes a night, 13 attempts from the field. If we check the head-to-head numbers against the Aces, last 3 games, 5, 41, and 19. But these were last season, so yet to play them yet this year. So in terms of Bonner at 17.5, it's a tough one because it comes down to pace. The Sun play slow as hell, whereas the Aces, they play fast as fuck, boy. So it depends who's going to create the tempo here and at what pace is this game going to be played at. So I'll probably pass on Bonner's points prop based off these numbers. Looking at her rebound line, 6.5. She has rebounded quite well as of late. 7 out of her last 10 games, she's gone over this. 3 games against the Aces, she's gone under in 2 out of the 3, but those are last season. So this season, rebounding quite well. Well, more lately, actually. 7 out of 14 this season. 7 of those games were in her last 10. So as of late, these rebound numbers be going up. Now, the Aces, they're probably mid-tier in terms of rebounds allowed. But what I'll do once I'm finished recording this thing, I'll dive in a little bit deeper to see rebounds allowed by position. We'll check to see if Bonner and type of rebound she gets, whether she's got a good matchup for this one. So I'll be sure to check that out. If you're interested in seeing what I do finally land on, Winnable's the place to be. I basically just take a screenshot of the bets before I submit them, and then you get to see exactly what I'm playing. All right, if we're not looking at Bonner, next up we're looking at Thomas. So Alyssa Thomas can do it all. Her points line in this game is at 12.5, though. She's covered this in only 3 out of her last 10 games. So we know that the Aces do give up some points. So 12.5 could be seen as quite low, but she's only averaging 11 points in her last 10. We know she likes to score around the basket, right? In there, her jump shot looks broken as hell. So I think like 93% of her points are in the paint. Now, the terrible at defending the paint, but within the restricted area, they're pretty good. They're actually number 1 in terms of points allowed at the rim. But within the paint, outside of the restricted area, they are the worst. So those short floaters and stuff like that, Alyssa Thomas could be a candidate for her. But in terms of how she plays and her style, it's not probably the best matchup for her. So I'd probably have to lean to the under, but at 12.5 points, taking a girl who's going to play 30 minutes, I don't know if I could take that, especially if the pace is really high in this game. I'm not overly convinced. But let's take a look at the assists. 7.5 assists for Alyssa Thomas. She's covered this in 4 out of 10 games, 6 out of 14 on the season. So she's averaging 8 assists this year. This Aces team sitting in the bottom 4 in terms of assists allowed in head-to-head matchups. Last 2 games against them, 12 and 11 assists for Alyssa Thomas. And a 7.5 feels a little bit low. We've seen this at 8.5 quite a few times. If we're looking at minutes played, if this game's going to be close, averaging 31 minutes in the last 10. With a matchup like this, you'd probably expect to see a little bit more. But I'd probably lean to the over for her assist prop. But definitely one that I need to investigate a little bit further because 7.5, it is quite high. Let's check out her rebounds line now. Rebounds for Alyssa Thomas. We're looking at 9.5 boards. So she cashed this in 3 out of 10, 6 out of 14. So her last 10 games, form's a little bit off, starting the season really hot. The Aces, middle of the pack in terms of rebounds allowed this season, but I'm not overly surprised to see her dip in her recent form. It kind of aligns with Bonner's increase in her recent form, right? Rebounding a lot more, Alyssa Thomas not rebounding as much. But when they get home and talk about it, they say, we rebounded well, right? So with her rebounds, I probably lean to the under, but not too much confidence. She's more than capable of getting this number of rebounds. And when I really only looked at under if the matchup is awful, right? I need to see awful form and an awful matchup. We don't necessarily have that here for Alyssa Thomas. So I'd lean to the under, but not a bet that I'm going to take. Next up, we have Dejanay Carrington, and I like her for a few reasons. Her play style is nice, hairstyle is nice, name's not too bad, and it's cool saying her name. So her point line's at 12.5. She's covered this in 4 out of her last 10, averaging 11.7 points per game in those last 10 games. Her 3 games against the Aces weren't that best. 11, 1, and 12 points. This was last season. She was getting less than 20 minutes a night. This season, she's getting 29.3. So a lot more minutes for Dejanay Carrington. Now, I did look to take her over against Dallas, which went well. That was a few games ago. And that was really based on minutes and play style, really. I also took her against a Fever. Now, Dejanay Carrington doesn't shoot the ball too much. A lot of players on the Sun don't shoot the ball too much, but she does score a lot of transition, so she runs that ball, and she drives a lot within the paint. Challenge is, in the retreat where she scores 67% of her points, the Aces pretty good at defending that spot. So I probably lean to the under, but with not too much confidence. But looking at her boards, 4.5, 7 of 14 games this season, 5 of her last 10, averaging 4.6. Aces, you don't have a massive advantage when it comes to rebounds. So, yeah, I probably won't be able to bet on her today, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to pass on Dejanay. Tasha Harris. Now, she's a shooter. I know that's for sure. The Sun don't have too many shooters, but they got Tasha Harris, and she can get buckets. Now, look at her points prop, 11.5. She's cashed 5 out of her last 10, 7 of 14 games this season. So averaging 11.1 plus money if you get 11.5 for Tasha Harris. Now, we know a lot of the Sun, they like to get in paint. Tasha Harris scores most of her points above the break. And I think she's got a great matchup here. They allow the second most points above the break. So the matchup is looking nice in head-to-head games. Hasn't performed quite well, but the minutes have been quite low in the past. This season, getting about 30 minutes a night, 9.4 attempts, and making a couple 3-pointers along with it. So I don't mind this. At plus money, Tasha Harris, I'll add that to my list. But at first look, it looks like a pretty good play. Like that play, chances are I'm going to like this play. 3-pointers made. 1.5 minus 136. She has cashed this in 8 of 14 games, averaging 1.7. You can see it here. The Aces, they do allow the most 3-pointers made. So I actually think that's a better look than her points. The problem there is that the odds aren't as good. But you do a little bit of line shopping, you'd be surprised what you can find. So Tasha Harris, 3-pointers, I do like that as well. Let's check her assist prop out. 3.5. She's hit this in 7 of 14. 3.6 as an average. The Aces, they do give up some assists, but 3.5, I'm not overly confident in this, especially if I'm leaning towards Alyssa Thomas to rack up some assists. Don't want to take 2 players in the same team for the same prop. You know what I'm saying? Last, let's look at Brianna Jones and the Aces. Now, Brianna Jones, her points line's at 12.5 for this particular game. Let me flick it to the over. Now, she's cashed this in 7 out of her last 10 games, averaging 14.5 points per game in head-to-head matchups against them, 1 out of her last 2. So recent form is great. Minutes are quite up and down. Does find herself in a little bit of foul trouble, though. Getting 25 minutes a night. So 12.5, I think she gets very close. You can see it here. She does get very close to this. She's taking almost 10 shots per game. Sometimes she gets to the free throw line. If we think about how Brianna Jones plays, where she likes to score her points, what the matchup's going to look like, we do know she scores a lot of points in that area where the Aces pretty good at defending. She does a lot of post-up. Aces are good at defending that too. She likes to get to the free throw line. Aces, they don't foul too much. She likes to crash the glass, get some offensive rebounds and put those back. Aces, they don't allow too many points there either. So the match difficult is probably why we're seeing a lower line here for Brianna Jones. So I'll probably have to pass on that. I think Tasha Harris, she probably has the best matchups in terms of how she's going to score. Looking at rebounds for Brianna Jones, 4.5, 6 out of 14 games this season. 4.6 is her average. This Aces team, not good nor bad when it comes to rebounds. Brianna Jones, to get 5. Yeah, I think she gets close. She has rebounded well against him in the past. Check this out. 10 and 9 rebounds in the last 2 games against the Aces. So she did play 37 and 34 minutes in those games. These days, she's only playing 25 minutes on average. So throw the head-to-head form in the bin. It's not too relevant. At 4.5, odds makers are probably right in terms of this. yeah, based on the numbers I've seen, I'm probably leaning towards get some boards. So I don't want to bet Bonner and Jones to crash the glass too well. So might take my chances with Bonner or not bet it at all. You know what I'm saying? Let's jump into these Las Vegas Aces and see where we land. Let's talk about Asia Wilson now. Man, her game is nice. That's what I'm going to say. That mid-range she got, some post fadeaways, that release, great player, very good to watch, carrying this team at the moment. Now, points on at 26.5. She's cashed in 9 of her last 10. She's averaging 29 points per game this season. She's cashed this line at a 77% hit rate, 10 out of 13 games. Asia Wilson gets the toughest matchup she's had all year. So the Sun probably going to be really up for this one, looking to slow her down. I'd be curious to know who's going to defend Asia Wilson in this one. Will it be Jones? Most likely. Some Melissa Thomas time on her, perhaps. But yeah, she good. She got that size. She got that touch. She got all, but she does have a difficult matchup. So she scores a lot of points on spot up, free throws, in the post, and in transition. Connecticut Sun, top 3 defending all of those types of play types. So 26.5 is a high line. We know the volume is going to be there. She's going to take close to 20 shots. Is she going to shoot over 52%? Is she going to get to the free throw line? That I do not know. But if you're blindly betting on hit rate, then yeah, take this bet. But when you're aware of the matchups, you start to get a little bit hesitant around it, and you can understand why lines are placed a certain way. So I'm going to pass on this one. I already know if I run this through the strategy, which you can download, video description below. It's a PDF file that I put together for you guys. If I ran this through the strategy, it'll tell you not to bet. So I'm not taking it. She could definitely go over. The hit rate's amazing, but she's about to face her toughest challenge yet. Her assist line, 1.5, which seems ridiculously low. Weird, some of these props. Like, it makes sense to make it 2.5. So if it's at 2.5, I think it's not a bad. I think it's the fairest line. At 1.5, minus 265, I think that's stupid. Let's have a look at her rebound line. 10.5 boards for Asia Wilson. She's covered this in 7 out of 13 games. She does average 11.3. The Sun, they allow the fewest rebounds in the league. A lot of that has to do with pace, as well as how well they can rebound. The Sun, they've got 3 strong rebounders in their starting lineup. So the Aces, pretty decent rebounding team, I would say. He has gone under this in 4 out of the last 5, though. So I probably lean to the under, but not too much confidence. You know what I mean? So these key players with high lines, there's no obvious edge. Let's take a look at Kelsey Plum, and then we'll get into Jackie Young. So Kelsey Plum, her points line's at 16.5. She's cashed this in 6 out of her last 10 games. In head-to-head matchups against the Sun, 17, 16, and 25 points, averaging 19.3 in her last 3 games against them. But this season, she's been pretty decent. 18.1 as an average. She's getting 36 minutes a night, averaging 16.2 attempts. But over the last couple of games, though, the volume for Kelsey Plum has started to come down. She does score in a lot of spot up, transition, as a ball handler, scores a lot above the break, but a difficult matchup. Like, everyone for the Aces has a difficult matchup, you could say. So I don't know if I could bet anyone from the Aces with confidence to score some points. I know some people will, but I feel like that's pretty hard to predict at this point. So I'll probably have to pass on Kelsey Plum's points. Looking at her assist line, it's 4.5. She'd have 8 assists in her last game against the Seattle Storm. 9 out of 13 games, though, 4.9 as an average. She's only covered this in 1 of 3 games against the Sun. So, yeah, I'm not too excited about that. If you look at the 2.5, 62% hit rate on the season. But this Connecticut Sun allow the fewest 3-pointers made. So, might be tough to find a bet for the Aces, because my initial lean here is that the Sun cover. The Sun probably win this game. So, I'm probably a little bit biased towards the Sun. Not gonna lie. But let's take a look at Jackie Young. I like watching Jackie Young. That handle is tight, a lot of step backs. Like, she's good with it. I like her. Her point sign's at 17.5. Jackie Young, capable of exploding. Check out 2 of her last 3 games, 30 plus points. Lines at 17.5. She can score in the paint. Does score above the break as well. No real soft spots here for Sun, though. Pick and roll ball handler. She could get some points off pick and roll action with Asia Wilson, averaging 18.3 points in her last 10 games. I feel like, I don't know, can you bet on... I've got a lean that most players go under from the Aces, but this could be a high-paced game if the Aces control the tempo. And we could definitely see someone like Jackie Young go over her points line. So I think out of all the Aces starters, I'm taking a look at them now. I'd probably lean to the over for Jackie Young, to be honest. But again, not too much confidence, and that's really important. So if you're not confident taking the bet, just don't take it. There's no harm in that. But I'd lean to the over for Jackie Young. I think the way that she plays is probably the most difficult for the Sun to defend. But let's see. I'll do a bit more analysis on it. Her response at 4.5, minus 154 to the over. She's cashed this in 6 out of 10 games, averaging 5.5 assists, 8 of 12 games this season. But over her last 5 games, she's only covered this line once. So you could say that her form leading into this game is not great. The under is plus money, 80% hit rate in the last 5 games. Against a team that allows the fewest assists, so you could say her form is down. The difficult thing with the W, I don't know if they track potential assist numbers, so potential numbers would make this a little bit easier. If maybe just check her games at home this season, yeah, her last 4 home games, she's gone under in 3 of them. The one game she went over was against the Liberty, fast-paced game, 2 great offensive teams. So I'd probably lean to the under there for Jackie Young assists at plus money. I think we might be on here. Yeah, I think I like her assists better than the points, over in her points. So plus money too. Man, I get influenced by odds too much. Let's check her rebounds prop. 4.5 for Jackie Young. 7 to 12 this season. 2 out of 3 in head-to-head matchups against the Sun. Do allow the fewest rebounds though. Maybe if we check her home games, what's she cooking at? Yeah, she's gone under in 5 consecutive home games, Jackie Young. So I probably need the under on that too. So the under and maybe her rebounds and assists could be a good look. So she's gone over in 7 of 12, averaging 10.9. But the matchup for rebounds and assists, well, actually on points, they're all difficult, right? So you could just take the under completely here for Jackie Young. But yeah, I think that's not a bad look either. I'll be in that for sure. Let me see what I can find. All right, and outside of Jackie Young, I'm just checking to see if there's anybody worth having a look. Tiffany Hayes, we don't have any lines up for her. Kia Stokes, we got nothing for her either. So we're looking to cash out. Check out my Winnable if you want to see the final bets that I pick. You can probably tell by the way that I presented this. There's a few bets that I'm already confident in anyway, but I want to double check them all, run them through the strategy that I've created. And that strategy I'm talking about, there is a PDF. It's linked in the video description below. I've made that for you guys. You can download it. I promise you, if you use that strategy for points props and you use that every single day, it's not guaranteed to hit every single time, but I can guarantee you will be profitable by the end of the season. It just makes too much sense to me. So don't miss that one. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Drop me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you want to throw support my way, or if you're looking for more daily fantasy apps, might be available in your area. Dabble, Rebet, and Chalkboard, all partners of mine. You get deposit matches and bonuses when you do sign up using my code or using the links below. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace.